Our new commander, Marcus Aquila.
Ready? On my command!
Well, you know who his father was.
The man who lost the Eagle of the Ninth.
You say the eagle's been seen in the far north.
No Roman can survive north of the wall.
I heard everything you stand for.
He's a slave. He does what he does because he has to.
Open the gate, soldier. Esther, what's happening? Get on your knees!
You're my slave. Do as I did for you, and you'll survive.
I read this book, The Eagle of the Ninth, by Rosemary Sutcliff, when I was about 11 or 12 years old, and absolutely adored it. It was like my favourite book when I was that age. And then I heard, 25 years later or something, Duncan Kenworthy, who I knew a little bit, had the rights to it. So I went and asked him, let me do it. I'd love to do it. I love that story.
Kevin, I expected to be good at working with actors. I mean, in The Last King of Scotland, his lead actor had won an Oscar, Best Actor Oscar. And I expected that he would know how to stage the material. Sort of what I guess I hadn't expected was how visual a director he is.
Fall back! Fall back! Fall back! Run! Run!
Most people, when they do this period, do a classical film, a Roman or a Greek film, it's an epic. The two words, a Roman and epic seem to go together. But this isn't an epic. This is quite an intimate film. And we've got battles, and we've got some chariot races, and we've got this and that. But really, it's a story, a relationship story with two characters, a master and a servant, who have this very complex, friction-filled relationship.
These two guys go all the way through, and having been tied as master and slave, they're forced to confront all sorts of things which, if they were just mates, they'd have gone off in different directions. So it's a wonderful way of putting this friendship under the microscope.
If I can't win back my family's honor by being a soldier, then I'll do it by finding a lost eagle.
You can't. No Roman can survive north of the wall alone. You can't.
Then I'll take Eska. I can use his knowledge. He speaks the language.
Eska?
Why not?
Because he's a Briton. He may not be from north of the wall, but he's a Briton. And he will slit your throat the minute you're alone.
He wouldn't do that.
How do you know?
He gave me his word.
His word? He's a slave. He says what he says, and he does what he does because he has to.
I heard a saying in the military that if you look around and you can't find who the weakest link is, you're probably it. And that's how I feel, because I feel like everybody is so at the top of their game that, you have Kevin, you have Jamie, you got Donald Sutherland, you have from down to the wardrobe to the makeup to everybody is like on the top of the top. And to get to work with these people, Jamie doesn't have a false moment. He just is. He's so honest all the time and so intense that, I learn from him on set all the time.
I think the clash of cultures in this is very evident in the script, and I think what Kevin wants to bring to it is that sense of we're from different sides of the tracks. We believe in very different things. But at the same time, they have lots of things in common. Loss being a major one. Also a sense of belonging. They don't really belong to anything. Marcus wanted to be a soldier. That is what he was born and raised to be. And that's taken away from him. For me, I was a member of the Brigantes. I was an armor bearer. I was a warrior, and that's been taken away from me. So I think that they're both kind of searching for their own sense of belonging.
They don't trust each other for a lot of this story. One's a Roman, one's a Celt. Eska's family have been killed by the Romans, so he's got every reason to despise Marcus and everything Marcus stands for. And Marcus, for his part, has received this terrible wound. They each have reasons to distrust the other. And each can't really see the world from the point of view of the other. They each have their own cultural viewpoint.
If you had two guys that were kind of the same, with the same kind of capabilities, I think some of the some of the intensity of emotion is kind of lost.
Who has the eagle?
They say the SEAL people have it.
How do I find them?
He knows. He's Brigantes. They fought here.
Esker knows more about the 9th Legion and what happened north of the wall than I think he lets on. And I think the reason he doesn't actually tell Marcus is because I truly believe he feels sympathy for him. He feels sympathy for his situation. Especially when honor is involved. I think Esker is an incredibly honorable person. I think he comes from a culture of people where honor and valor are among some of the strongest virtues. All close to them, and I think that for Marcus, it's just as important, and he's chasing after something. He's chasing after history and trying to restore something.
How can a piece of metal mean so much to you?
The eagle is not a piece of metal. The eagle is Rome.
He really just learns that it wasn't about Rome. It's not about that. It's about himself and about his friendship with this guy that sort of is the picture perfect of honor and faithfulness. And Esker would have been Roman. He would have been a Roman soldier if he just grew up in Rome, and they couldn't have been more apart in the way they grew up, but they're exactly the same.
Physically, they're so in contrast to each other, Jamie's sort of quite small and sort of feral and very sort of wise beyond his years. And Channing's very direct and honest and straightforward in that very American kind of way, and very physical, like this big lump of granite.
I love the fact that Channing is so contemporary. I mean, he's doing the performance differently. It's not the Channing of Fighting or Step Up. It's not sort of contemporary LA speak. We said we want your own accent. The Roman Empire was full of accents, from Spain. Emperor Hadrian was born in Spain, to Asia Minor. We can certainly encompass southern accents and Midwestern accents and northern accents.
Your tribe was there, and they butchered my father's men like dogs.
Your father came to kill. He came to punish us because we would not bow to the name of Rome. Yes, I'd heard of this place. To me and to all my people, it is the place of heroes.
How dare you? You're still my slave! And you'll be dead in a ditch without me! I'll end your miserable life!
This film, it's a bit of a... It's a battle, really, like most films are. This is quite a big one, because the ambition is high and everybody wants to do the best they can. They always do, usually, but there's a lot of charged energy on this film. There's a good crew in front and behind the camera.
One of the great things about having Anthony Dodd Mantle shooting it, who shot Last King of Scotland with me a few years ago, is that he's such a live wire. He's so full of energy and he's so sparky as a personality, and that having that energy at the heart of the crew is enormously useful, because film crews have a tendency to sort of slow down and get stuck further and further in the mud, and you need people who are sort of motors to dynamos to get them going.
Anthony Dodd Mantle, Oscar winner for Slumdog Millionaire, shooting this, and he's not doing a sort of Last King of Scotland. He's much cleverer than that. It's quite different.
Duncan clearly indicated what the project is for him, which is nice. You have a hands-on producer on set every day who, it is his baby. I'm sure he's had that with other films, but this is a film he's really pleased to be doing, so you feel that, and he's here every day and he's very involved, and I'd much rather have that.
It's a real genre breaker, this film, because it does have a little adventure. It is a boy's own adventure. That's why it appealed to me when I was 12. But we've made it a much more adult film, and there's quite a lot of violence and that kind of thing. And there's very adult, grown-up emotions and themes. You could make exactly this story about an American soldier who's been wounded in Iraq, and it feels his life is hopeless and tries to find a new meaning to his life. And that's really what it's about. But you can see it as being a film about trauma and how you deal with it.